Sorry, all. 1 second. Howdy, Hyper J. Hello, hello. How's my audio? Am I echoing today? Because I think I may have a. I've just been. I want to make. I've been trying to make my. I've been trying to make this Contrapoints YouTube video that I've been working on for fucking ages. I might have to get someone to edit it for me, which is something I really didn't want to do. But I may just do it. Someone messaged me, so I think I may have to talk to them about doing it. I've just been... yeah. How's my audio sound, though? Fuck me. Yeah, but it's not normally like this. I think maybe my mic might have broken a little bit. I don't know. I think there might be a slight issue with my microphone. No, but Terratrove, I don't think there's always been an echo. I think the echo is something new. I'm not quite sure. Or is that always here? Don't know. Love your streams, Chris. Normally I listen to at work. I don't get to comment. Oh, thank you, JKFK. I need to be more consistent because I do love doing the streaming, but yeah. But you don't sound bad, as Jay said. Yeah, it's just I was trying to record this Contrapoints video and it was just causing issues, so which is annoying. But I guess I've been researching it so much that yeah. JKFK, thanks for becoming a member. Is that showing up? I haven't got my headset on. Let me check if that's showing up. Oh. No confusion. No confusion at all, Terratrove. At all. No confusion or complaints towards you. Thank you for telling me. You're a top fan. What's a top fan? Hi, finally I'm watching the live stream. Awesome, awesome, awesome. I need to stop going live on TikTok, man. It takes a... Well, actually, no, there is a reason. It's because I said I've been working on a video and this has been taking a while, but... We move. Yes, based in initial. I need to get a new microphone and a better setup, to be honest. But does it? I'm actually going to message Noah Sampson because I want a handheld microphone. Message Noah Sampson. Oh yeah, yeah. There's something funny I want to talk about. TikTok is chaotic, yeah, but it's easier to do. Your mic got EMP'd, yeah. Yeah, they found out about what I'm doing. They found out about the crazy things I'm up to. My YouTube FYP page is crazy, like genuinely. It's a traveling Israel video, and it's hold on, I'll show you. It's a traveling Israel video called "What Do Israeli Jews Do with All Your Money?" With all your American taxpayer money, and then what if Ned Stark accepted Renly Baratheon's crown? Crazy. That's a crazy YouTube page. Do some debates. I don't debate people on here, but there's probably more meritus. I'm going to see Superman on Thursday. It'll be quite interesting. Right. Why won't it let me? So, some H3 fan has started doing conspiracies about me. I should probably take this down before I get removed for anti-Semitism. PC is on 1 HP. It's always on 1 HP. Yeah, I mean, I would go through Instagram Reels as well, because those are... My Instagram Reels are fucking hilarious. Right, I just want to talk about this video quickly.
Okay, so hopefully that is a nice background for watching Taylor's video.
This is like some Ethan Klein mega fan.
A little teeny bit of context that I found interesting is that when Taylor's video went live, it was one of 3
Did I have a... No, I don't think I did. I think my PC is just going crazy today.
Videos about Ethan's copyright lawsuits that dropped within the same 24 hours. They all dropped at within the same 24 hours. Again, could be a...
You know, Ethan talks about snark brain. This is crazy brain. This is crazy brain. Because I knew someone would mention this. I'll tell you now, I have messaged Bad Empanada multiple times. He has never responded once. We had no contact about our videos. And Taylor Lorenz, I was going to message about my video because I talked about her. But then, yeah, I didn't. I didn't message Taylor.
Total coincidence. Could be a total coincidence, right? We have Chris Kunzler dropped one on July 10th at 4 p.m. These are all Eastern times. We then have Taylor dropping hers 2 hours later. How copyright lawsuits kill free speech. That's the one we're going to take some clips from tonight. And then Bad Empanada dropped his. Oh, no, wait, that's a Bad Empanada. Okay, hang on one second. Taylor's dropped the next morning at 7 a.m. Bad Empanada's dropped 2 hours after Chris's at 6 p.m. So there's Bad Empanada.
Yeah, I messaged him on Instagram. He probably didn't even care, and because I've got a cartoon profile picture. My friend told me I need to use a headshot for my profile picture on this. I've got one. There's a BBC article featuring me. Hold on. Oh shit! I've never seen this. I've never seen this. There's a Hold on. I've literally never seen this.
Students who have been camping out for 4 weeks now at the University of Exeter in a protest against the war in Gaza say they have reached a stalemate with their university. Those protesting say they're planning to stay even after the end of term, but the university claims there have been incidents of harassment. Here's our political reporter, Miles Davis.
The university didn't allow us on its grounds to film the encampment, but students sent us these videos showing the number of people that are there. Between 30 and 40 students have been camping out, demanding the university...
This was actually crazy. There were 30, 40 people who stayed every single night at Exeter bloody University.
University cuts any ties with Israel.
We would like the university to sort of match how it claims that it acts and markets itself as an institution which is helping build a better world. That's really what we want, the university to walk the walk of like actually being an institution that respects human rights.
In response to the
There we go, based Chris Kunzler.
demands made by protesters, the university previously...
No, I'm not fluent in Farsi. I can read and write it much better than I can speak it, but when someone sends it to me, like someone sent it in the chat yesterday, and trying to read it on TikTok, whilst there's a million things going on, that ain't happening. And I also haven't practiced in so long.
Said there were no formal partnerships with Israeli universities, and it did not invest in any firms that directly funded defence. The university sent an email to all students on the 5th of June, claiming there had been disruption and intimidation of guests at a recent open day, but this was flatly denied by the protesters.
No, it's absolutely not the case. I mean, you can see this worldwide, though. This misrepresentation of protesters, misrepresentation of students, it exists basically everywhere, and it's a demonization that works just to silence us. We remain confident in our completely peaceful protest.
Despite the university term coming to an end,
This is also really weird colour grading, because this jacket is like navy blue. Maybe I don't know.
students say the
No, I wasn't the one leading the encampment at all. There were many people doing it.
camp will stay.
The feeling in the camp is that unless our demands are met, we are going to continue to.
Do you see also the beta BSc and BA students versus the Sigma Chris Kunzler MA Middle Eastern Studies student?
Action in camp until something changes.
Nobody from the university was available for interview, but they issued a statement which said that the organisation was unambiguous in its support for staff and students alike at this time. It said it supported academic freedom alongside a duty of care to its community and said, "We respect the right to protest, providing such protests are carried out safely, respectfully and within
I think that's my tent there. It was horrible.
the law." Miles Davis, BBC Spotlight.
Sorry, I don't know why, I can't remember why I pulled that up. Because I was in a BBC article.
Not as content.
I don't know why I pulled that out.
Ethan Klein. Part of me was going to watch the 3 of these, but I really just
Also, shout out my thumbnail maker for that video. She's fantastic.
did not want to. I really didn't want to. I don't want to watch Bad Empanada's content ever. And Chris Kunzler's like a student. I don't know. I don't want to give him more platform than he has earned.
I really just wanted to talk about this because there's like quite a few people who kind of like, oh, they say, I don't know. Like, I have one of the biggest UK TikTok Palestine related stuff. Like, I have one of the biggest platforms. I have videos with tens of millions of views on this platform. I've accumulated probably in excess of 100 million views. Like, oh, someone donated. Sorry, I don't even know what they donated. ADHD, that's why. Yeah. Yeah, I know how to write it. I could, maybe there's, actually, here you go. If you don't believe me, there you go. Let me see how that looks on camera. It's probably flipped the wrong way around, but there's me writing in Farsi. What does it say? To inaugurate, Aftakhtadan, Aftakhtardan, Queen, Malke. I think king is Malek. Mine, Min, the first, Nachostin. Foreign Minister, Wazir Kharije. There you go, there's some Farsi for you. But yeah, like, it's quite interesting to say that, like, I don't deserve more of a platform. Like, TikTok has suppressed my content as well, and yeah, this is also a fucking funny video. Look at the colour grading on this. This colour grading is crazy! You look crazy! This is the funniest reasoning I've ever heard. Yeah, you know there looks around a student. All of Ethan. Yeah, like, just saying that because I'm a student, like, look, I've not been consistent enough, I've not been consistent enough with YouTube. I will get better over time, and I promise I will, but yeah, like, I don't know, I think I'm doing pretty well for someone who's just started out making YouTube videos, and yeah, it's just a crazy thing to say.
So yeah, and the one other interesting thing about these 3 videos is they all used, 2 of them use the same term, saying that Ethan, it has a psychosexual obsession with Hassan.
He does. Bro, like, as I said before, I have had beefs with people. And, like, I mean, I don't even know how many TikToks I've made about History Revealed. I've made a lot of TikToks about History Revealed. Me and History Revealed, we... Whoa. Sorry about that. Maybe that was just too loud. Chris Kunzler. That was probably even louder. Sorry, sorry, some of your eardrums probably just burst. I deeply apologise for that. But yeah, like, here we go. History Revealed. I've made a lot of videos about History Revealed, and I think I've posted some funny things, and I've said funny things about History Revealed, but I don't, like, constantly post about History Revealed. I think it's deeply weird. I'm sorry about your ears. I think it's deeply weird to just post constantly about Was it like 135 stories that Ethan had posted about him?
I saw them clipped on Twitter. Both Bad Empanada and Chris Kunzler referred to Ethan as having a psychosexual obsession with Hassan. In the video...
Yeah, it's a funny way to describe it because it's true.
...that they dropped 3 days ago. And 1 month ago, here is Taylor Lorenz's tweet. My views on war in the Middle East have not changed since the early aughts, by the way. And I think Ethan's weird psychosexual obsession with Hassan is weird as hell.
His weird psychosexual obsession with Hassan is weird as hell. Yeah, it is weird as hell.
So they apparently dropped the whole thing. Well, if you want to criticize Bad Empanada, go watch his video. I'm focusing on Taylor's video because it was the most succinct, and I think she has the most...
I mean, I think Bad Empanadas was probably the most succinct.
...credentials as a journalist. I don't consider Bad Empanada a journalist.
Bad Empanada's more of a... I think you would argue... I think you would argue as like someone who either abandoned academia or someone who failed at it. I don't know. He seems pretty competent at academia, so I think probably he could have become an academic but decided against it. I know he has published work in certain places, and his videos are genuinely worthy of respect, like a lot of them. So I think he has quite a lot of credentials to kind of talk about this stuff. I've got to be frank with you.
But you are more than welcome to go watch like the 2-hour stream of him.
His video is very succinct.
I'm not going to do that to myself. I do not feel like imbibing any of his content. Okay?
I need to be fair, like, who even is Chris Kunzler? Chris definitely feels like Bad Empanada Jr. Kunzler's debate with Lonerbox gave me cancer. By the way, if you actually watch my debate with Lonerbox, all Lonerbox does is, and he does it very well, Lonerbox refuses to actually talk about any issue of substance and refuses to, and basically focuses on a fucking crater and pointing to an article, which by the way, he is kind of wrong about because he keeps saying that forensic architecture have said what he said, but forensic architecture say the opposite. And I think if you asked Isle Weitzman, he would say differently. But like, I just think like, you know, I just think, like, this is just a weird video to make and say you don't want to give me a platform. I often find it weird, like, how... I think there's been a concerted effort of some Zionist content creators not to engage with me. I think that's the reason that... I think that's specifically the reason that, what's her name? Alika LeBon deleted her video. His personality doesn't refute his points. Exactly. His expertise there with that respect. Bad Empanada Jr. is crazy. Why is Lonerbox? What do you mean, why is Lonerbox? Oh, who is Lonerbox? Lonerbox is like a defender of Israel's genocide. Like that's what Lonerbox does as like a sort of job. He defends Israel's genocide and has cultivated a community of Zionists who enjoy that as content. It's pretty perverse, but you know, I guess you got to make money. You got to make your money somehow. So yeah. Fuck. I mean, like. But it's just crazy, and like I just don't know why you just constantly desire to support. Why you constantly desire to support this, like Ethan Klein. Ethan Klein is just a weird guy. Like, he's behaved very weirdly about Hassan. Talking about Hayla want to fuck Hassan is weird, and yeah. Why does Lonerbox have rights? I don't know. They're right. Why is Lonerbox? Yes. Mika from PA Money. Why does he owe Mika from PA? Child sniping expert Lonerbox. Yes. He knows everything about child sniping. But yeah, very interesting stream from her. Well, I don't know really why she was saying that, or yeah, I just think it's a crazy thing to say, but I don't fucking know. Yeah, I'll pin the Discord. Thank you. He does it all for content. Yeah, well, I mean, it's also just what your audience wants to hear. It's pathological at this point. If someone still chooses to defend the barbaric war criminals. Yeah, I mean, Dillian Clark, hello from Jordan. Hello, one of my friends is out in Jordan. Right, let's have a look at this. Ethan was up to no good.
Point is not that you shouldn't share all the horrible imagery and videos that are coming out of Gaza, but there is a cynical weaponization of it by certain people on Twitter and social media as a means to just drumming up outrage and hate. And it's being shared, I think, it's being shared in a way that, like, they want you to hate Israel and Zionism.
Yes, I hate Israel and Zionism. I hate Israel and Zionism, but it's not because of photographs. The photographs are, part of that, but I think that the main point and my main problem with the state of Israel is that it is a genocidal settler colony, and this is kind of why I want to talk, like, what I want to talk about in my in my video about ContraPoints. Like, this whole statement is an attempt to rehabilitate Zionism, and there's just no point in rehabilitating Zionism. There is utterly no point, and these photographs are not what make people angry. I've said before that in many ways, like, part of, like, looking at these photos is problematic in the sense that many of us, like, actually get some kind of trauma from these photographs, in the fact that, like, you kind of look at these awful things, and there are certain images that are seared into my mind forever. And this doesn't mean that I'd speak out against them or people sharing them. I just think that people need to realize that there's a distance from them, that when we're, like, really upset by them, that we actually can't even fathom what is going on in that photograph, like, what it is actually like to be next to it. Because I remember there was a video that came out when I was at university, and someone who I went to university with was from Gaza, and in the background there's a woman crying, and she was like, "That's my friend. That person in the video is my friend. That person crying." And I think, like, these images should be put out because they show people in really unbelievably horrifying situations, and they're showing, like, how evil this weaponry truly is. Like, and by the way, like, like, Ethan is someone who's like, "Oh, I was so deeply affected by Israeli news publishing, like, I listened to all these voice calls from October the 7th, but is now speaking out against sharing these kind of things." But yeah, I just think, like, that my only umbrage with the images is that, like, when you see them, you kind of take on some of the trauma, and then you don't realize, like, but you can turn your phone off. You're not actually experiencing them. But that's kind of, like, the only thing I have to say about them. That doesn't mean I'm going to speak out against them.
And in a lot of cases, Jewish people, as the lines get blurry, and less so, like, how do we help Palestine? How do we help Palestinians? What are we going to do?
This is also just a crazy take, and like, what are we gonna do? Make videos with Hillary Clinton
to help this situation. It's more just this. They call it.
Yeah, I mean, as I say, there are literally photos. I don't know if you remember. I can probably, like, mention it vaguely, but there was a photo of someone whose entire body had literally just been crushed, like, just completely crushed, flattened, and, like, I don't think I'll ever be able to forget that photograph. But, like, that's just what Israel is doing to human beings. But my point would not be, "Oh, don't share them." Like, I'm just saying, like, I think people need to bear in mind that we're distant from these actual photographs, that we don't smell Gaza, that we don't actually have any way to fathom it. But I think, like, saying that they're being used to manipulate opinion of Israel is a very perverse statement.
It's a good term. It's like oppression porn, or no, not oppression. There's a name for it. It's like it's like gore porn. I don't know. It's.
No, gore porn. This is also really perverse because sure, some people could take it as gore porn, but, like, I also don't think that that's how, like, most people are engaging in with it. They're not seeing it to kind of see, like, extreme violence and be shocked by it. They're seeing it because they're like, "Jesus Christ, this is what Western money and such is being used for." She is effectively saying the equivalent of, "Please don't call out the Holocaust because that might create anti-German racism." Thank you so much for the donation, the Norwegian krona. I have to look up these currencies still. Thank you so much for that. That's an incredibly kind donation. But yeah, you're right. This is kind of what I talked about in my video. I know Bad Empanada says it in his about ContraPoints, but it's not actually the first time someone said it. I saw it on Twitter first, so what I thought about that is, yeah, I don't think you would dare to engage with genocide victims in this way. And what was I looking at? I was looking at this earlier, which is by the way from, like, this is by the way from Ofer Kasif, the guy who was on Hassan's stream, at Left Winger. "The October the 7th massacre is the reason for the genocide in Gaza, just as the assassination of von Rath was the reason for Kristallnacht. it's kind of like saying, like, you know, someone killed von Rath, like a young Jewish boy did kill von Rath, right? That's not like debated. Like a Jewish boy, who killed him? I don't know his name. Herschel van Grunspan. Yeah, so he was Jewish, undeniably. Israel has already done a lot of damage, re-anti-Semitism, re the gatekeeping, re the conflation, the general barbarism. Exactly. Israel purports to be the state of all Jewish people, and thank you very much for your donation. But yeah, like, when you purport to be the state of all Jewish people, it's ridiculous. But I think that this is such a good statement because it kind of shows you wouldn't dare to speak this way to Jewish people, to victims of the Holocaust. You wouldn't dare to say that the emaciated photos of Holocaust victims are like, you know, are there as like gore porn and torture porn. Like, there are photos of piled up bodies, you know, and like, when you sit there and say like things like this, you just wouldn't, how dare you talk like that? People share photos and videos of what the RSF are doing as well in Sudan. And I think that, like, I don't see people being like, oh, those are being shared to make you hate the RSF. No, you hate the RSF because of what these what they are doing anyway.
She is touching on something very, very true, in my opinion, of that.
Thank you, Ethan Klein. Iran evil, man.
The statement begins with unconditional support to Palestinians. But then she goes on to explain that it's important that we self-police ourselves in this movement to make sure we don't devolve into something bad, something self-fulfilling, something that makes things worse.
So I actually want to see what the full thing he says here is. You are going to get like a full, more like, I think you guys are going to enjoy this, the video I'm currently making. I'm just going to see if I can find the... P.S. If you could show my meme comparison between Natalie Contrapoints and Sophie Scholl. What meme comparison? Is it in the Discord or something? I haven't seen it.
Statement.
But this is just a weird thing to say. Like, self-fulfilling prophecy. Like, look. I'm going to be honest. People often message me about the anti-Semitism in my TikTok comments. And I feel pretty upset and incensed by it. In the sense of, like, I don't want people making jokes and going, like, the painter should have finished the job. Hold on. Someone was asking me a question. I don't like that. I report them to TikTok, but TikTok chooses to do nothing. TikTok will literally let you have SS Thunderbolts in your bio, and they do nothing about this. Are you publishing the edited vids on the same as the stream? No. I'm gonna do like a... I'm doing like a whole takedown. I'm actually just gonna message someone. What was I gonna say?
Begins with...
I do ban them, but like, when you miss someone, like, so, okay, so I'll give you an example. Like, I turned on my TikTok notifications, and when it first came up, it showed like, oh, this is someone saying something deranged. Then I couldn't find the guy. Like, I couldn't find the guy who'd said it, and it's just like, what are you meant to do? I just want to see... I don't know what the fuck is going on with that. Hold on, let me refresh it.
In this movement, and you know, trying...
Oh my god, this is just not working.
Dude. Is there a genocide? Yes. Will I speak about it? Not until me, Contrapoints, will see any tangible...
For your own channel. Yeah, but the problem is like, what if you just want to filtering a word out like painting or painter is just like ridiculous, and people find ways around it. Like, I'd have to filter out the word mustache, which is ridiculous.
Well, benefits. That's not at all what she said. In fact, the benefit is in being like Mike from PA and just coming out and being like, I am morally pure and I don't see any nuance at all. Please.
Well, like, this is also my problem. This is my problem here. What nuance do you want us to see when it comes to Israel's genocide in the Gaza Strip? What nuance is there? Israel is doing genocide. There is no nuance to that. It needs to be stopped. You need to speak out unequivocally against it. And there are quite a few people who play this trick. What they do is they think that calling it a genocide is just a way out of it completely.
Showered me with social credits. You think that Contrapoints didn't know that she was going to get like a heap of shit for standing on her principles? But that's what standing on your principles actually looks like sometimes.
What are your principles? Like meeting Hillary Clinton?
Sometimes standing on your principles means that you're going to take a hit. That's what these people don't understand. They think that standing on your principles always means that you win, you get the benefit, and everything is always peachy and you're always on the right side and everybody always loves you. That's not what it looks like, actually. That's what looks like being a hack.
I mean, the funny thing is like with doxing, I've been so public about my name, but like I guess people could post my private information, but like maybe one day it'll happen, but I guess that's something you confront when it happens.
That's what being a hack looks like. Contrapoints basically...
This is actually the one that I wanted to get to.
...stated, to summarize, all lives matter. Again, super dishonest framing to try to use another movement's ambiguities with the all lives matter statement, which was like racist for sure, to try to say... And again, she didn't say anything other than it's unproductive. There is anti-Semitic forces in this movement, and you know,
I stand up for my right to sit down. Yeah, exactly. It's her principles in the... That's what it looks like for me because I'm a leftist. The crazy part about all of this to me is, like, I just think you're sitting there. All Lives Matter is a good comparison because it's kind of like saying, oh, well, you know, inside the Black Lives Matter movement, there were some people who hated white people and said these things. And it's like, yeah, there probably are. But ultimately, like, what we're talking about right now is a very different thing in the sense of, like, the problem with the statement is it's really wishy-washy. Ethan is becoming an illiterate Slavoj Žižek. Not, unfortunately not. Like, if he was Slavoj Žižek, at least he would be able to say something intelligent. Ethan wants to dial it back to the 90s when there was support for support for Palestine due to general ignorance, re how hard Israel would suppress Palestine. Yeah, I mean... Like, the thing is as well, I think what the Gaza genocide has done, and I actually think that this is one of my key problems with Contrapoint's statement, and one of the things that I am, like, actually proud of having played a part in, is that it's not like a time, like previously, where people would get away with statements of going like, I want to see the suffering end. People are starting to understand now that saying that they just want to see the suffering end is not enough, because there is no equivalency between the people carrying out a genocide and the people being subjected to a genocide. And people trying to draw these equivalencies are being ridiculous, because there is no equivalency. Israel didn't do genocide because of October the 7th. That's why I brought up the Ernst von Rath point by Ofer Kasif, because I think when you like because I think my point here is to say is like, hey, Israel is doing this genocide because of Zionism. Zionism is a project which has never had any space for the Palestinians. They have increasingly become like a useless population, a surplus population. And, you know, this uselessness, this point within Israeli society has led towards genocide. And I think that you have to, like, and you have to say that, like, Israel, the genocide was, like, just what Israel was always going towards. I haven't seen any actual anti-Semitism in the pro-Palestine that aren't secretly Nazis. Yeah, I mean, I tend to agree with you. Or, like, people who are kind of marginalized anyway, like... there are some people who I think that do engage in anti-Semitism or say things that are problematic, but, like, at the same time, I still think that the problem is that, like, you are talking about feelings right now. Like, look, there are Jewish people being subjected to anti-Semitism and violence is unacceptable. It's unjust. But what I will say is that, like, Western governments are, like, unequivocally in favor of stamping out anti-Semitism by, like, banning free speech. But, like, when it comes to anti-Palestinian racism, this is acceptable. I don't know if Sarah's here. I know she's made videos about it. Northern. I don't know if any of you saw this the other day. Oh, sorry, I better check that. First world nuances justifying supposed moral superiority with moral depravity. Lipstick on a pig. Yeah, I also just want to read a short statement from Discourse on Colonialism by Ami Césaire. What I am driving at this idea that no one colonizes innocently, that no one colonizes with impunity either, that a nation which colonizes, that a civilization which justifies colonization and therefore force, is already a sick civilization, a civilization which is morally diseased, which irresistibly, progressing from one consequence to another, one denial to another, calls for its Hitler, I mean its punishment. Now, what he's actually talking about here is that Europe justified colonization and ended up with Hitler because of it. Like, that's how it ended up with Hitler. And I think that my point that I would make in this is Benjamin Netanyahu didn't come from nowhere. A society which is built off, you know, the genocide of Palestinian people and trying to remove them whilst having as many Jewish people as possible is always going to move towards this point. You will end up with Netanyahu. And my other point of, like, trying to kind of, like, rehabilitate Zionism is what I've called it in my, like, you know, my YouTube video that I need to make once I can get this fucking echo to go away. What I'm trying to say is that, like, why are you trying to rehabilitate it? The person who is going to win the next Israeli election is Naftali Bennett. Naftali Bennett is far right. Like, he's spoken gleefully about killing Arabs. I'll just show you, like, a tiny segment of my... Because it's not... Like, I'll just show you some statements by Naftali Bennett, because they're fucking crazy. I know there's the very famous one where he's like, I've killed a lot of Arabs, and that's a good thing. Here you go. Incendiary comments. He said in 2013 that Palestinian terrorists should be killed, not released. And in 2018, the same year, blah, 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 Bennett said Israeli troops should have a shoot-to-kill policy, including for minors. I would not allow terrorists to cross the border from Gaza every day, he said. Asked about the army targeting children, he replied, they are not children, they are terrorists. We are fooling ourselves. This is the alternative in Israel. They keep telling me that there are all of these good Israelis that want to vote for something different. I am saying here that, look, there are people in Israel who don't want to genocide all of the Palestinians, but there is no major protest movement to Netanyahu. What they protested last year was they protested Netanyahu making it a halakha law state. That was what they were upset about, and Netanyahu being corrupt. They don't actually have a problem with his racism and plans for the Palestinians. Most Israelis talk about Palestinians being expelled. By the way, even this guy, Yair Golan, who presents himself as a liberal, who wants a two-state solution. What he means by a two-state solution, by the way, is Israel having full control over Palestinian security in the West Bank and Gaza Strip in any state that they would have. And so I think that this whole idea of, like, oh, well, it would all be fine then is just fundamentally ridiculous. Because here's Yair Golan. We should tell them, listen, until they're released from our side, you will be starved to death. This is completely legitimate. This is the leftist in Israel. It's a systemic issue. Netanyahu and his self-serving Kahanism is merely the current apex. Yes. I think one actually might put it as any society that justifies colonization deserves its own kahana, its punishment. In a sense, I have a somewhat of like a morbid respect for Kahana and Menachem Begin, because these two are so clear in the sense of what they were saying. They were like, shirk off this whole bollocks. We're doing colonization. That's okay because we're better than them. Kahana believed in a divine religious right and the religious right to do these things. And yeah, Kahana is just what Israel is going to end up with. Yeah, please don't post that. Wait, you just got here. What YouTuber was murdered? I'll talk about it later. I'll talk about it in a second. Brainwashing of the highest levels, but yeah, it's.
3 years ago, I served in the army in Samaria on the West Bank. In Ramallah, the Arabs rioted. So they sent me there to put down the riots. Now I want you to know that not 5 minutes passed, the word spread through that town like lightning. Kahana's here. The rioting stopped. It's important that every one of you know what the name Kahana means to the Arabs. It means terror. They're afraid. And that's the only language they understand.
This is literally what Israel is doing now. And even, by the way, Kahana talks like this, but like, the Iron Fist policy was instituted by Yitzhak Rabin, a leftist. Here you go. Iron Fist policy, also known as was a policy involving a series of raids. Blah, 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 blah. I don't actually think that this is correct. I think that this is wrong. It was basically just a policy. Oh, no, here you go. It was a policy of crackdowns against the occupied West Bank. By the end of 1985, 125 Palestinians had been detained under administrative detention orders. The policy was prompted by the killing of 8 Israeli civilians in attacks in the 2 months to 29th of July of West Bank and Gaza Strip. There were also house demolitions and all of these things. This was instituted by a fucking leftist. Like a leftist in Israel.
And for those nice Jews sitting here who say, that's terrible, let me just repeat what Moshe Aarons once said to a group of UJA givers in Jerusalem. One Jew got up and he said, why must there always be war? Why can't we sit down with the Arabs, coffee and cake, and we work the problem out? And he said, sir, this is the Middle East, not the Middle West.
It is, by the way, what kind of leftist? Leftist in Israel?
That's right. It's the Middle East. And that's what the Arabs know and understand. If you're good to them, you're not good, you're weak.
Uses it for real estate and well, I mean, also, but what you have to understand is it's not just Netanyahu who uses in this way. Forever wars with Palestinians, what purpose they actually serve is... sorry, I actually need to do something. What purpose having, like, forever wars against Palestinians actually serves is that basically it stops Israel from ever having to go through its own societal problems, you know? Like, it stops it ever having to deal with anything. Like, it stops it from ever having to, like, go to question what it is, what it does, and how it treats Palestinians, like its problems in its own society. It doesn't care.
And if you're weak, you're dead.
I just want to see... I'm looking for a specific interview that I can find of him. He was, like, speaking at UCLA and shit.
On any given night in Israel, in any of the major cities, in every coffee house you will find thousands of Arabs throughout the country sitting with Jewish girls.
It's funny that you're all talking about his accent as well, by the way, because one of the Israel's most prominent historians, Tom Segev, wrote in the 1990s that the problem with Kahana was that he was ugly and spoke bad Hebrew, that he was kind of a joke in Israeli society. But the whole thing about Kahana that's crazy is that you're right, he was ugly, he was killed, he was not really, he wasn't from Israel. But what he gave birth to is... he gave birth to a project, he gave birth to an ideology that is now dominant in Israel. Like, listen to what he says here. Ethan, I've spoken about this before, he spoke about demography, and like, even someone who considers themselves a liberal Zionist, like Ethan Klein, they will say shit like, oh, you know, Palestinians, they're like, you know, they might like one day outnumber the Jewish people, and that's a problem. That's what Kahana said. Like, it's not that outrageous, you know. This is what this guy was saying.
In many cases, the Jewish girl doesn't even know that this is...
By the way, Hitler said this too.
an Arab. The Arab Ibrahim will say to her that his name is Avi, Abraham. The Arab Musa will say that he is Moshe. And that's how it begins, and we don't even know about it, we who sit in the exile. The tragedy of Jewish girls, 4,000 Jewish women today married to Muslims. And bear in mind that in order to marry a Muslim, it means that she had to convert to Islam. 4,000 Jewish women today who converted to Islam and who are living today in our...
This is, sounds like the KKK. Kahana really brought over, like, KKK American-style racism over to Israel. And I don't mean that Israel wasn't racist before, but he, like, genuinely brought over, like, a blended form of American racism.
Villages with their Arab husbands and their Jewish children who are...
But, like, also, by the way, like, I know people say this guy was marginal. Like, now, the people who support him, who believe in his ideology, have had the power to collapse Israel's government, you know?
Are Arabs. The prostitutes of Israel are overwhelmingly Jewish, and the pimps are overwhelmingly Arabs. And this is the Jewish state. For this we dreamed for 2,000 years. And the tragedy within the tragedy is that the overwhelming majority of these girls are Sephardic Jews who come from communities that for 1,500 years preserve their...
This looks crazy. It looks like he's made up of loads of little pictures of himself. I don't know if maybe I'm having some kind of stroke.
Jewishness in the exile. And that which the Muslims could not do to them for 1,500 years in the exile, Jews did to them in the state of Israel. Is this the kind of a state that we want? Is this the kind of a state that we are speaking about?
Yeah, I mean, like, and I just bring this guy up because, like, I wrote an essay, which I can probably show you, actually. I can show you. It's all sourced. Okay, so Kahana won 1% of the vote. But they analysed voter patterns afterwards, and it showed that they just voted for Mizrahi Shas or the Ogdat Yisrael Ashkenazi party, both of which still exist. But, like, also, apparently Kahana would have got 2 to 7% of the vote, like, as he escalated his racist rhetoric, but he was banned eventually from standing in the Israeli Knesset. But do you want to know something crazy? When Israel banned him from standing in the Knesset, they also used it as an opportunity to bring in laws which didn't allow anyone who spoke out against the state of Israel that you could be disbarred for saying these things. So it's you know, it's pretty awesome. And I found the quote I'm looking for, but I'm not going to find a video of it. Let's just have a look. At a speech in Haifa on June 28th, 1985, Kahana attacked Jews and Arabs equally. No one can understand the soul of those Arab beasts, those roaches. We shall either cut their throats or throw them out. I only say what you think. Overwhelmingly, Israelis support throwing them out. Like, Kahana won. Kahana, like, the horrifying little slogan that they love, his supporters, is Kahana was right. And about something like this, I genuinely think he is. The whole concept of transfer was unspoken, but it's always been there, because you can't have a Jewish state with 7 million Palestinians. Israel doesn't want to have a two-state solution, and you can't have a state with 7 million Palestinians, because they'll vote you out of existence. So it's just like, it's just insane, you know, like, when you sit here, when you sit here and you try and make out that Israel and its project has something redeemable about it, that we should all be like, oh, Israel's fine and justifiable and moral. Like, no, this is just like how it ends up. I know it's just squares, not many photographs. Read the next paragraph, it makes me sick. Cohen concluded her account of the speech by quoting a promise Kahana made to the audience. In 2 years' time, they, the Arabs, will turn on the radio and hear that Kahana has been named Minister of Defense. Then they will come to me, bow to me, lick my feet, and I will be merciful and will allow them to leave. Whoever does not leave will be slaughtered. This is literally what Israel is doing. I don't care when people go, he's marginal. Israel is implementing this. This guy's like perverse visions and fantasies are being implemented by the state of Israel. Like, this is what they've done to Gaza. I'm sorry, you can try and escape it, but this is exactly what they've done. This is exactly what they've done to the Palestinians. Like, you can't just escape it by going, I think Israel's fine. Like, no, this is all Israel returns. Israelis overwhelmingly support expelling the Palestinians. There's not been a huge protest against Netanyahu and Trump trying to carry out a crime against humanity. The crime of ethnic cleansing. I mean, they've already perpetrated the crime of genocide. I mean, even here, like this is all part of it. Like, look what they're doing. Like, all of this serves the purpose of expelling the Palestinians, in the sense of it is about creating an environment where there is a total lack of safety, where Palestinians are basically just exposed to danger constantly. And it's like, I don't know. And also, on this topic of Kahana, let's stick on it, because, like, by the way, there are so many people, like, who make... this is also something Lonabox did. He made this claim that the reason for the destruction in Gaza is because every building and house is booby-trapped. It's not actually true. And these funeral videos prove it. This is a eulogy of some settler that got smoked in Gaza. Yeah, sorry, I shouldn't have showed that video. Sorry, guys, I showed you a video that was meant to make you hate Israel. Oh, this is what this is what the pro-Palestinian movement is so guilty of. They're always trying to make people hate Israel for some reason. Like, this is why Gaza looks the way it is. This is, by the way, why Gaza, there's a Haaretz article about this. Hold on, I'm just trying to... Enoch Powell and Mosley were marginal too, and look what happened. It's even being exported to Ireland. I mean, indeed, like, the ideology is fucking everywhere. It is, I'll just find this, hold on. The article is called this: Rafah is gone, razed to the ground. At the start, Heritage Minister didn't rule out Israel using an atomic bomb. Effectively, the proportion of structures that have been eradicated in Rafah and Jabalia refugee camp is higher than what was destroyed in Hiroshima and Nagasaki. The proportion of structures, there you go. Like, people are enacting fantasies of erasing the Gaza Strip. Like, this video is just an example of it. Like, Israel has got Kahanis just going in and wiping people out. Also, by the way, Thomas, thank you so much for your incredibly kind donations. Thank you everyone who donates. Thank you for supporting me and making this possible, like streaming and making content. I'm so grateful for it. You are making great progress in the mission to end this war.
כמה שיותר מהר תכבשו את עזה. אין במקום לרוע טהור שרואה את האיש הכי יפה בעולם ופשוט מחליט לירות בו. אין מקום לרוע הזה שם. יש במקום רק לחיים, לצחוק של ילדים, לשמחה, למשפחות יהודיות וקדושות
And I know people will say, well, they're crazy. Gila was in the same army, and fucking Ethan said that he was proud of her service. Was proud of her service.
בשביל לחיות, שמתרגשות מכל גרגר באדמה הזאת. אתה נלחמת על הארץ הזאת, ומגיע לך לדעת שבסוף כבשו את הרצועה המסריחה הזאת. אנחנו נקים שם חווה, ואנחנו נקום שם. אני מבטיחה לך. מאמי כל כך אהבת.
Also, to the person who just said maybe October the 7th was a bad idea, this isn't happening because of October the 7th. This is happening because Israel is a genocidal settler colony. I haven't done the YouTuber, I'll cover it in shortly. Like, this funeral is genuinely one of the craziest things. Like, imagine this just being all that's going on at your funeral. Just this fucking, like, crying over you doing genocide. Over you not doing genocide as well. Sorry, you just not doing genocide, dying.
את הכאב שעשו לנו המלאקים האלה, את חילול בנות ישראל, את העלבון, שמו אותך בצפון, הרגשת, באנו לבקר אותך בצפון, הרגשת, אני לא עושה פה כלום, אבא, אני לא עושה פה כלום, שום דבר, אני רוצה לרדת לעזה.
Doesn't this sound like literally what Gila Klein said? I know Gila didn't go and like demolish Palestinian houses constantly, but she said that she was bored being stationed somewhere and went to the Gaza Strip to do, went to the West Bank to go and do night raids and stuff.
אולי ראיתי את המאמר של רבי אבאו שאומר שהקדוש ברוך הוא בונה עולמות ומחריבם, בונה עולמות ומחריבם. רק אתה שינית את זה קצת. בשנה האחרונה שירדת לעזה והתחלת להרוס לנו את הבתים, הרגשת שאתה עושה, שאתה נוקם, שאתה עושה משהו, שאמר שזה הדבר, המקום הכי טוב להיות כאילו זה להיות כאילו מפעיל את סמ"ק, כי זה, ככה אתה נוקם הכי הרבה את נקמת ישראל. בנית בתים בישראל והרסת בתים בעזה, בנית בתים בישראל והרסת בתים בעזה, בנית בתים לישראל הקדושים והרסת בתים לרוע ולטומאה. תמיד פחדתי מהגיבור שהיית.
Sorry, I'm in the way. I'll go up here. Just for now.
אמרתי לך בתירוצים, אמר לי, אתה בשנה הראשונה לנישואים, אתה צריך להיות עם אשתך. אמרתי, אל תדאג אבא, אני חוזר כל יום הביתה.
I am sorry, but like, this is one of the things, like, when people tell you that, like, both people are suffering, bro, these are the people fucking suffering in Israel. Like, they're just like, you should have done genocide better. And, like, people always bring up these fucking, like, phone calls by Hamas militants that are like, Dad, I killed X amount of Jewish people. This is fucking crazier. This is fucking crazier.
יש להרוס ויש עוד הרבה להרוס. שמחת בשליחות שלך, בחבר'ה שעבדו איתך, והמפקד שעבדת איתו, הרגשת שאתה עושה, שאתה מועיל. בגיל 16, כמו שמרדכי אמר, החלטת שאתה קונה עדר פרות כדי שיראו בשומרון, כדי לסלק את הערבים משטחי.
It's fucking crazy. Like, these people just openly admit to, like, doing ethnic cleansing at their son's funeral. Like, what is this? Like, bro! Like, bro, you're trying to rehabilitate this. Bro! Sorry, I'm shouting. There's an echo. Bro! Is it this? Sorry, I probably just shouted really loud. I'm deeply sorry, apologetic. It's fucking crazy, though. This is just nuts. Like, what can you... Bro, I hope that this is what my funeral is like. my family just crying. He took great pride in his mission to destroy Israel. It's fucking crazy. It's fucking crazy. Honestly. Like, if it was Palestinians doing that, you'd be told, oh, they're doing all these... They're so bad. They're so immoral. They're so unjust. But it's just like, fuck me. Hold on, I want to go get my nerds. I want to eat some nerds. I want to eat my nerds. I want to eat my nerds, god damn it. No crisps, no, just eating nerds. And I've just fucked the nerds thing. Oh shit, I've just fucked the box. Oh well. This is what your donations are all spent on. I hope you realise. I spend all the money you give me on fucking nerds. No Smarties, no Jelly Babies. Fuck no. American poison sweets. They're actually English ones, so they've got like less chlorine in them. But yeah, like it's just wild. It's genuinely just wild that this is and this would also be the point. I think that like buying into this whole anti-Semitism stuff where you're like, God, this is really what we need to talk about anytime we talk about Palestine. And like in the case of Ethan, like Ethan has dedicated way more time to chastising Hassan, claiming that people had bleach swords than he has even like actual really serious growing anti-Semitism in America. Like he spends his time just talking about like just talking about like utter nonsense. I'm like, yeah, I don't know. Whilst like this is what's going on, and like Francesca Albanese has just been censored. This is like where this whole anti-Semitism crap leads you to, in the sense of like, and this is also what was annoying about Contrapoint's statement, because she's like, oh, right-wing ghouls weaponize anti-Semitism. It's like, hey, no, the US government does that. Like, the US government was putting pressure on the ICC under Biden and stuff. But yeah, like, Albanese has been sanctioned. She's been sanctioned. And 3 other people who work for the UN have been, have just quit their jobs because they know what the consequences will be. Like, they are using anti-Semitism to prevent anyone being able to do anything about Palestine. And Ethan bought into this. He tried to deplatform people who criticised him by claiming that they had a Nazi sword that was a dog whistle, which is just a crazy thing to say, you know. Also, ow. I don't know. Hold on, I need to blow my nose. Ow, my tooth hurts. She's amazing. I've never had so much respect for someone I don't know personally. Yeah, she is great. She is great, but like, you know, it's so hard for someone to do this kind of work because we're literally being told over and over again that anti-Semitism is like everything, that the world is just like filled with anti-Semites. There was just a report on... I've told you all about the like faux anti-Semitism smears that I've literally witnessed in my like own personal life. Like the one at Exeter University where a student went on GB News and told everyone that she was the victim of anti-Semitism, and it just wasn't true. But according to the UK, a government-backed report, middle-class anti-Semitism is out of control. Literally every paper is posting about like how migrants are responsible for everything wrong and how Muslims need to be attacked. Look at this from Northern Ireland, which is part of the UK, by the way. There was a bonfire of migrants. Like, you just sit there in awe. You sit there in awe and just look at that. That was the thing that was done. They were burning that. Nowhere in the UK has that happened. Like, has anyone set up a pyre with, like, I don't know, a Star of David on it, you know? Like, you just sit there and then you read about this. This is, like, anti-Semitism normalised. Like, what? Like, let's have a look. The review warned that Jewish people in the UK were suffering increased prejudice and public services and felt they were tolerated rather than being respected. The report commissioned by the Board of Deputies. By the way, the Board of Deputies is like an organization that just like unequivocally supports Israel's genocide. Like, do you not think that that might be not the best source to be getting this from? Let's have a look. Here's them apparently admitting to lobbying the UK to ban Palestine action.
On possible efforts to secure prescription of them and other Iranian proxies, and in the event there's no appetite for prescription, escalated sanctions against their leadership.
We had a meeting with Dan Jarvis, the Security Minister, this week, in which we spoke very much about Iranian proxies. And so the whole conversation was around, first of all, how they have stepped up already in terms of something that is not quite the same as prescription, and we're trying to understand exactly what that means. They made the announcement anyway in terms of, and they're looking at more organisations to which that could apply with no Pacific side. In addition to that, he said they are looking to take further action on Palestine action, and he hasn't described what that would be, but that's in the pipeline. And they are also, and we also had conversations about organisations, people like David Miller, and also, whilst it's not an Iranian proxy, we also added 5 pillars into that conversation, and all of that was in the brief of continued conversation we're having with the security minister.
Like, these are the representatives of the organisation. They fired people who spoke out against Israel's genocide from their own organisation. Like, this is a lobbying organisation for the Israeli government. Like, it just straight up is. And these are the people who are like, oh, anti-Semitism's rising. But this wasn't even spoken about in Parliament. Like, this is really dangerous. Like, this is people, like, talking about killing and burning refugees. And when you're talking about refugees, most of these people are talking about Muslims. Like, for me, it's so important to say, like, and this is the much wider thing, like, people who are just obsessed and, like, fan the flames of anti-Semitism, as Ethan has done, by the way. Like, Ethan has categorically, like, made stuff up about anti-Semitism. Like, the bleach sword. The bleach sword was just made up. That was literally done intentionally. He did that intentionally to try and make it out as if they were all anti-Semitic. Crazy. Yeah, I thought I heard him call Palestine action an Iranian proxy, but let's just read on. The inconsistent policing of hate crimes against Jews, including at pro-Palestine protests, was also highlighted. They've been stunned into silence. We heard about the noisy demonstrations and how intimidating people find the current environment, but as we dug deeper, what really scared us was the increasing normalization of far more extreme, personalized, and sometimes life-changing impact directed at individuals because they are Jewish. We are two non-Jews from opposite sides of the political spectrum, and we have both come to realise that if our Jewish community is facing discrimination, this is a failure of society. Well, it's very clear that, like, the people who are currently being targeted on a far larger extent are Muslims and immigrants. Like, they just are. It is acceptable to say whatever you want. In fact, like, not long ago, someone called Frank Hester, who's a donator to the Tory party, said that, Frank Hester said that Diane Abbott should be shot. What did he say? He said that Diane Abbott made him want to hate all black women, and that she should be shot. And he just kind of got away with that. Like, he just sort of did that, and that was okay. Like, racism is just very, very, very acceptable. What did John Brown say? It's ironic that loyalists in Northern Ireland complain about small boats when the only small boat with immigrants in Ireland has dealt with was there. Yeah, I mean, that's true. Smitigans hit record highs, which monitors. Also, it's quite funny that basically what it's saying is that there's a significant rise whenever Israel does genocide. And it's also clear that part of that reason for the rise is because Israel, part of the reason for that rise is because Israel is doing genocide, and our Western governments create this really hysterical environment where they refuse to act accountable to the people who opposed the genocide in Gaza, and because they just unequivocally support the genocide in Gaza. Islamophobia has been normalized. Islamophobia has been normalized before that. It's crazy, really. This is also fucking crazy because it's just not true. Like, when have there been pro-Palestine protesters outside of places? Earlier this year, the Telegraph revealed that a Jewish counter-protester was arrested by Metropolitan Police after he briefly held a sign satirizing a Hezbollah terrorist leader at a pro-Palestine march. Turning to the health services, researchers found many Jewish employees within the NHS felt that issues in their workplace were not being addressed and being swept under the carpet. From evidence that we heard, we can identify that there is a specific unaddressed issue of anti-Semitism within the NHS, a surge in anti-Semitic abuse from colleagues, according to the General Medical Council, the independent body which regulates. Several NHS staff have been reported for anti-Semitic activities. Unique food is such a trip. What do you mean Israel has no unique food? There's food that emerged in the diaspora, but yeah, a lot of Israeli food is just like Palestinian food, repurposed and then claimed as Israeli. Like, Israel, it's all part of the genocide of Israel trying to wipe away Palestinian history and culture. Like, that's just what it is.
For years.
How could it? They've developed. Yeah. Yeah, exactly. It's not. You're not talking like there is. The truth is like Jeremy Corbyn was hounded out of government and didn't become the prime minister, in part because there was a major anti-Semitism smear, and because if you are anti-Semitic, it is actually detrimental. Like, it is a vote loser in the UK if you are anti-Semitic, and even if you're just accused of it. But when you're like Islamophobic, that's like a vote winner. Allegedly, hold on, let me see if I can find this. So it's been alleged that Robert Jenrick, what is Robert Jenrick's even current role? He's the Shadow Chancellor in the UK. So he's the, State for Justice. So he's alleged to have messaged this account, Robert Jenrick, is alleged to have messaged an account called Inevitable West, saying that he's a great admirer of their tweets. You are right to hold me to account like any politician. I think we agree on what needs to happen. This is a guy who said raid the mosques, ban the Quran, carry out mass deportations. That's something that was endorsed by a British politician. I am sorry. This shows that Islamophobia is way more institutionalized than anti-Semitism. So when you sit here and say over and over again, I'm really concerned about the anti-Semitism in the pro-Palestinian movement. I am really concerned that Islamophobic racists... Sorry, I shouldn't have done that because you might have showed something. I am really concerned that Islamophobic rhetoric and Orientalist racism are currently feeding into Israel exterminating tens of thousands of Palestinians, and that being allegedly an acceptable thing. Something that we're just meant to accept and understand and see as, oh, it's allowed to happen. No, I'm sorry, this is insane. Like, this is frankly insane to sit there and say that the problem is with the pro-Palestine movement instead of focusing on this. This is a way bigger point of focus, and it is basically just okay to say and do whatever you want towards Muslims because they are currently the group who are framed as not capable of integrating. And when Jewish people were subjected to the worst anti-Semitism in the UK, it was when they were portrayed in this same way as a community who would not integrate to British society. It's not now. And I'm just saying, like, the point is like, you shouldn't ignore people saying anti-Semitic shit, and it shouldn't be part of the pro-Palestinian movement. And the vast majority of decent people, actual leaders within it, are rejecting it. It is just a small amount of people who've latched onto it because they know it's a way to target, like, the forever Trumpers and to gain massive popularity by, like, having a unique selling point. Because there are an increasingly there are an increasing amount of young right-wing Republicans and right-wingers from all over the world who don't want to associate with leftists. And so they realise that they can find someone like Candace Owens who might actually be an anti-Semite, but is also not like just pro blowing kids up, you know? Right. Hold on. Here you go. This guy, like, I just want to read you. I think that this is one of the most important things that you can ever read on this. Yeah, like the stream, guys. Like the stream. Like the stream. Donate the millions. Yeah. You guys are going to enjoy this. I've set up a super chat goal. No, wait, no. Actually, no. I know what I will do. Is this not working? Why is this not working? I'm setting up a goal. Oh, it won't let me. Oh, there we go, there we go, there we go. There we go. I promise that when I reach my goal, I will actually sort out my setup. It's an evil promise because it's a lie. But anyway, in 1903, Evans Gordon wrote a book called The Alien Immigrant based on the reports he had made to the Royal Commission, in which he deals with what he calls the Jewish question. Yeah, I should have set an impossible goal for you. I just should have set you a goal of 1 million. The settlement of large aggregations of Hebrews in a Christian land has never been successful, and that the Hebrew colony, unlike any other alien colony, forms a solid, permanently distinct block, a race apart, as it were, an enduring island of extraneous thought and customs, to the extent that east of Aldgate one walks in a foreign town. Bro. Like, this is literally... This is literally just what the Conservative Party and right-wingers say. Thank you, John Patricia, for love you, Chris. Greatly appreciated it. Ow, my tooth hurts. If I get enough donations, I'm going to replace all my teeth with gold for a whole stream. And then beyond that, I'm just going to have no teeth. I'll get them all removed on stream. Okay, thank you, Kaplan Mudler. Thank you. I will. You know what? The funny thing is I am actually just going to move towards it, because I'm going to get myself a nice little streaming PC, but I'm going to get myself a little one I can take around. No, actually, I was, sorry, just on the topic, this is kind of, I do want to stay talking about this, but, my dentist told me smoking is the thing that was giving me mouth issues, and she said that Zins were okay. She said to move away from them. Can you imagine I just started streaming? I've always wondered what it would be like if I just came on stream and I was bald. Thank you, Garlic Fries. If I just came on stream one day and I was just bald, what would you guys think about that? Would you like that? Would you feel good about it and positive? There's no obligation, by the way, to donate at all. Like, please don't feel obliged. Like, I'm glad that you will watch it. Like, there's fucking 600 of you in here. It's crazy. But yeah, like, when you just read this, replace your teeth with tiny engraved Qurans. Yes, yes, yes. Don't... Bold. Yeah, if I came on bold. Came on stream bold. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I would unsubscribe immediately. What if I came on bold? I would not like that, lol. I'd be scared and positive. I don't feel like you'd suit it. You were bold and never addressed it for the whole stream. Yeah, if I just refused to... Not for PC stuff, only to be used on extravagant dental surgery. The extreme body modifications. Imagine also I came on with, like, I don't know, just, like, extreme body mods. Would you guys like that? Would that be a positive development for the stream? I think so. Ooh, I know what else I've wanted to talk about. I'm a little late to the party, but we got Jeffrey Epstein discussions. We got Jeffrey Epstein discussions. Oh, and I've got to talk about the YouTuber who was killed, because that's actually a fucking crazy story. One second. Ow, my tooth actually hurts, and... Ow. I roll my cigarettes much healthier. Yeah, I used to roll my own, but I don't anymore. I wouldn't care. The hatred for the bald is too much. Septum piercing goal when. That was a conversation I have with my husband. He's saying, "What would you do if I got gold teeth?" Hot take: Jeff was a bad guy. Yeah, I'm gonna say it too. That Epstein was not good. I don't like Epstein. The vicious camp, but yeah. This is a good article if you want to read it. I'm not gonna read it all, but it's Fiona Lale follows me, so she's nice. Anyone who follows me is good and just and moral. Anyone who doesn't is bad and evil. That's why I don't like Ethan Klein. 18 naked cowboys in the showers at Ram Ranch. Oh, hang on a second. Maybe I was wrong about this YouTuber. Oh, hang on a second. The giggling really sold it. Here you go and sort yourself out. And thank you for your work. Okay, so there's actually been an update to this story. So it was first claimed that the YouTuber was inside, so I better remove that from the title. Israel has not killed a YouTuber, but they did kill an American citizen. A bit more Contrapoints and Epstein. Right. Sorry. You still talking about this creep? No, I'm not talking about it. So it started circulating that I'll show you. It's still probably worth covering because some of you might be interested in her content. So she was in, just a few days ago, she was in the Balata camp and she made like videos. And it was initially claimed that she'd been killed by Israel, and there were people posting it, and there were also, but apparently she died, but there's been updates, so Zionism Observer has said that she died in Scotland, so, I mean, it's still awful, I'm sorry to hear for her, but she still posted videos like this, so I apologise for that. This was April. She wrote that in the description. Yeah. Oh, I see. Yeah. But this had been circulating on like some reputable things, and she passed recently. That's why people had reached the conclusion that she'd been killed in the West Bank. But anyway, either way, it doesn't really matter because obviously that was wrong. I didn't make a video about it. It's unfortunate I had it in the title for so long. But it looked like it was reported by a couple of places, and now they've taken down their articles. So, hold on 1 second. I'm gonna eat some things.
In the back of an ambulance, Saif Musallat's aunt says one final goodbye. She is far from alone. Hundreds in this West Bank town have come to honor the American son who was deeply rooted in his Palestinian community. Saif was killed on Friday, just 2 weeks before his 21st birthday, beaten to death by Israeli settlers, according to his family.
Thank you, John Brown. They'll be put to good use. I'm going to buy so many nerds for the stream.
Those settlers
Nerds and Zins
also shot and killed another Palestinian man in the same attack, according to
Free Scotland from Lonerbox, indeed.
Eyewitnesses.
Indeed.
It is a senseless yet all too common outcome in the West Bank.
Today it is an American citizen being put to rest here, but over the course of the last 20 months of this war, nearly 1,000 Palestinians have been killed in the West Bank and East Jerusalem, according to the United Nations. But today, Saif Musallat's family is demanding an American investigation into his death.
We want justice.
His father, Kamel, was home in Florida, where he runs an ice cream shop with his son, and he got the call that Saif had been attacked by settlers.
You know,
this is a fucking crazy story. He was literally, yeah, Aaron just put it in the chat. He was literally fucking beaten to death. He was literally just beaten to death by settlers. It's crazy. Genuinely, like, a truly unbelievable story. Speaking of Jeff Epp, you know who tried to, yeah, I did see her statement on it. I mean, Jeffrey Epstein is like, the Jeffrey Epstein stuff is definitely worth talking about because the Jeffrey Epstein stuff is splitting the MAGA base, and it's also just fucking hilarious because Trump was obviously involved in it. Like, Trump was 100% getting... Trump was probably one of his most prolific fans.
never think that it's your son or anything who is this happening to. And then I got word that it was my son. He was hit, he was beaten, he lost conscience, but nobody could get to him. Ambulance couldn't come in. Why? Because the IDF restricted that. The IDF blocked that.
So you hold the Israeli military?
I hold the Israeli military just as...
And like, by the way, once again, I hate to harp on, like, people like Contrapoints and stuff do not have a fundamental problem with the Israeli military. This is what the Israeli military does. It's what they were doing before October the 7th. October the 7th didn't make them block and attack ambulances.
Responsible as the settlers and the American government for not doing anything about this.
The State Department said it is aware of Saif's death, but declined to comment further on calls for an investigation. Israeli authorities say they are investigating but have not made any arrests.
And they won't make an arrest.
For 2 months now, Palestinians here say Israeli settlers have been encroaching on their land and terrorizing Palestinians who try and access it. This was the scene on Friday as Saif and other Palestinians tried to reach their farmland. Hafez Abdel Jabbar said he saw settlers chase after a man he would later learn was Saif.
They ran up the hill, they caught Muslim, they started beating him with sticks.
By the time he reached Saif's body, he was already dead. As we head to the location where Saif's body was retrieved, a white vehicle suddenly appears behind us.
We have a group of settlers who are now following us in their vehicle. They've put their masks on as well, which is a concerning indication.
At an intersection.
But like, also, by the way, like, you can't just say you like Israel and you don't think Israel is an apartheid state when the Israeli military are literally doing this.
The settlers get out and try to pelt our vehicle. But we manage to approach a nearby Israeli border police vehicle and the settlers turn around. But minutes after the border police head out to search for the settlers, we are ambushed.
Shoot.
Everyone okay?
Yeah, shoot.
Go, drive, keep driving.
The masked men smashed the rear windshield of our car, but we managed to speed off unharmed.
No,
They turned.
And never make any mistake, these people work for the Israeli government. They are literally taking Palestinian land for the Israeli government.
They turned.
It is just a small window into the reality here.
And also, like, we hear constantly about how Palestinian society is radicalized and evil, and they all love killing people. And it's like, sorry, these people are believing in the project of Zionism, that Jewish people have a right to historic Palestine. Like, this is what they do.
If it would have took us 5 more seconds, we all would have been beaten with
You
these
think they would
sticks.
have beaten us?
Yes, sir.
But your son was also killed.
In January 2024. By a settler. Simply just being there barbecuing.
What does that feel like to have to constantly try and tell the world what's happening?
You scream into the whole world, and the whole world is watching. Simply silent. Seeing all these mothers put their sons that they worked so hard to raise them up for 20 years, and you pick them up and you put them in the ground under the sky, and the silence go on and on and on.
Surveillance video shows the moment.
We don't need to watch that. It's just crazy how brazen it is. Like, just beating an American citizen to death. Like, it's just unbelievable, isn't it? Like, it's genuinely unbelievable that you can, like, just beat an American citizen to death, and that's just okay because you're Jewish in Israel. Like, you can just beat people to death. None of these people will be held to account. They are literally just allowed to murder. They are literally just allowed to murder people, you know? Like, murder, like, just massacre people. Apartheid leads to nothing but horrors. It's also just a project that, like, tells Jewish people, yeah, you have a historical right to Palestine. Like, the funny thing is people are like, oh, Zionism will just stop. But these, like, what do you do about these hundreds of thousands of settlers in the West Bank who, like, are just ideologically committed to taking all Palestinian land, that believe Palestinians are inhuman and have no right to that land? Zionism was initially premised off Palestinians not having a right to that land because they were portrayed as being lesser than the Jewish settlers who went there. Now, the thing is that, like, now the thing is that, like, oh, there's some people who want to stop that slightly, maybe. But, like, there's so many in Israel who don't want to do that, you know? They expand the area where the US military bases have a buffer zone, and thus it's fine. What, you mean in historic Palestine? So, yeah, you're right. I also hate how the focus on religious zealotry of Palestinians and never ever the insane justifications that ever... Oh, I mean, I never talk about it because it's just, like... It doesn't lead to discourse, which I enjoy on other platforms. On here, you could have a more measured discussion about it. But there is, like, David Sheen talks about this a lot. This is from 2019. Last night, Channel 13 News revealed recordings of instructors at a top Israeli academy. In part 1, the head of the seminary pines for the return of slavery, said to be the natural order, because Arabs have genetic problems and thus want to be under occupation. I mean, let's just watch a second of this. And don't worry, before you all start crying, I'll move my head.
בגלל ביטול העבודות החוקית, אז נוצרו מגרעות עכשיו, כי אין אחריות על הנכס הזה. בעזרת השם זה יחזור. הם ירצו הגויים להיות עבדים שלנו.
זהו הרב אליעזר קשתיאל, ראש ישיבת בני דוד בעלי.
הכי טוב להיות עבד של יהודים. הם שמחים להיות עבדים, רוצים להיות עבדים.
הישיבה הזו מיועדת לבוגרי המכינה הקדם צבאית, המוכרת והיוקרתית בציונות הדתית. רבים מהם מגיעים אליה לאחר שהם מסיימים שירות צבאי.
במקום שהוא יהיה סתם מסתובב ברחובות, ועושה שטויות ואלימות ומזיק אחד לשני. עכשיו הוא עבד, החיים שלו מתחילים להתנהל.
לפי הרב קשתיאל, האדונים הם היהודים, העבדים הם הערבים. החלוקה לא מקרית, זה עניין ביולוגי, בעיות גנטיות.
יש מסביבנו עמים כאלה, בעיות גנטיות.
Jesus Christ, yeah, I don't think I want to listen to any more of this. But, like, David Sheen's probably someone who reports on this most.
Is they entered.
This is also, by the way, the opposition in Israel.
Roughly 30 communities. What Hamas, ISIS did is they entered roughly 30 communities. Whenever they can, they butchered babies. They burnt them alive. They pulled a baby out of a pregnant mom's and then beheaded the baby, beheaded the mom.
It's actually crazy. This is just... and by the way, Ethan was like running defense for Zaka not long ago. Like, this is just a blood libel that comes from them. And like, that's... You know, that's an actual blood libel, like a blood libel that was used to justify genocide.
The most important educational facility. This is an army academy in which army officers are sent to study the Torah and the Talmud. You have rabbis teaching these lectures, and I'm just going to give you some quotes directly from the Hebrew so you can evaluate what kind of messages are being put forth and passed on. So here's Rabbi Eliezer Kashtiel, and this is what he has to say to his students. Due to the abolition of legal slavery, there are now deficiencies since no one is responsible for the property, right? Humans want to be our slaves. Harming one another, now his life begins. All around us, there are nations with genetic problems. Ask any simple Arab where he wants to be. He wants to genetic problems. He says, yeah, of course. Secret, is it untrue? What can you do? It's true. Yes, we're racists. We believe in racism. Correct. There are races in the world, and nations have genetic attributes.
It's just crazy. Like, you have so many people running around in Israel who are just Nazis, like, beating people to death.
So it requires of us to consider how to help them. Racial differences are real, and this is precisely a reason to offer help. Wow. That's really something. This is the premier military academy. Surely this can't be the bulk of what they're teaching, right? So we move on. Here's another rabbi, Giora Redler, and what he teaches about the Holocaust. He says, the Holocaust wasn't really about killing the Jews. That's not the Holocaust. All those excuses that it was ideological or systematic, that's nonsense. Because it was out of ideology, in a way, it was more moral than if it was just people just murdering. Humanism, the whole secular culture of believing in man, that is the Holocaust, he says. The real Holocaust is to be pluralistic, to believe in man. That is called Holocaust. For many years already, God has been screaming.
This guy, like, just goes around following the Israeli far right. It's crazy.
Screaming that the diaspora is over. Now people don't listen to him, and that is their disease, which must be cured by the Holocaust. Jewish people living anywhere in the world other than the state of Israel, that's a disease.
I mean, yeah, like, people had really crazy views. Like, look into Ben Gurion had some crazy views on the Holocaust, like, unbelievable. I don't know if many of you should have heard, this is from Israel's first ever leader. If I knew that it was possible to save all the children in Germany by transporting them to England, but only half by transporting them to Palestine, I would choose second. He is literally saying that he would want more children to die in the Holocaust if they didn't go to Israel. Israel's engagement with the Holocaust has long been incredibly problematic. Like, this is not... Like, it's really, really, really unusual. You can read this article. It's called We Are Conquerors by Adam Schatz. Here you go. Some of the survivors gave him a hearing, but others were frustrated that he did not know how to offer paternal sympathy for their sufferings. Just want to see if I can find it. He had enough headaches with his people. American Jews didn't want to come. Soviet Jews couldn't come. Instead, Israel was getting what he called Holocaust, human debris, Holocaust survivors and Mizrahi Jewish people. There's also like a thing of, he made a really questionable decision. Ben-Gurion dismissed out of hand the idea of bombing Auschwitz and the railroads leading from Hungary to Poland, or his judgment that the terrible historical significance of the Nazi slaughter lay not in the frightening number of Jews who were massacred, but in the fact that it eliminated that select part of the nation that alone among all Jews was capable and equipped with all characteristics and abilities for the state building. Like, you can read about this if you want. This is from a review of the most prominent historians, like most prominent writing about David Ben-Gurion, like the most prominent book. You can read about it if you want. Like, this is not crazy. This is not crazy. Like, basically, what he is saying and what he is upset about is that they didn't get Jewish people from Europe. That's what he was upset about the Holocaust. Not that Jewish people had died. He was upset that he didn't get people from Europe. And like, yeah, I mean, David Sheen probably goes on here. Let's just have a listen to what he's got to say.
And the cure for this disease is to genocide, said Jews. You know, about as revisionist as you're going to get. That's pretty sickening stuff. And then he goes on. In relative terms, the logic of the Germans was internally consistent. Hitler said that a group of people, a certain group in the population, is the source of evil for all humanity. It caused evil to humanity, and therefore they must be exterminated. So let's start with the question. He says, was Hitler right or not? Seems like a pretty obvious answer, right? But you'll be surprised. He says, he is the most righteous person possible. Of course he was right in every word he said. Talking about Adolf Hitler. What does he mean by this? There is a masculine world that wages...
Genuinely the craziest thing you could hear. I would recommend that you look into David Sheen. Very interesting guy.
That is concerned with respect. And then there is the soft, moral, feminine world of turning the other cheek. And it's the Jews that carry on that tradition, trying to ruin all of humanity, and therefore they are the real enemy. He's on the wrong side, but otherwise he's 100% correct. He's saying that the correct way to be is strong, to believe that might makes right. And if you, in fact, believe in being merciful to the other, then that is the most evil thing.
I mean, tell the class about the concept of the new Jew. I mean, it's just that they're basically, that they were strong, that they saw, like, people like David Ben-Gurion, so, and it's not just him. Tom Segev talks a lot about it in The Seventh Million. There's a sort of belief in Israel, or there was particularly in the 1980s, that a lot of the, before this day, that a lot of the victims of the Holocaust, their problem had been not coming to Israel, and thus they were lambs to the slaughter. Hold on.
That humanity can do, okay? So Hitler was incorrect in ascribing that feminine, merciful quality to Jews. That attitude, to believe that might makes right and that mercy is evil, that's 100% correct, according to ex-spy at that academy, Josef Kellner. And he has a lecture on another topic. He says, to not follow the Torah and commandments is lack of morality and national treason. So if you're a Jewish person and you don't follow all the minutiae of rules and regulations...
There's actually one specific one. Here you go. Rabbi Yitzhak Ginsburg, who published a book called The King's Torah, said there is justification for killing babies if it is clear that they will grow up to harm us. By the way, this has been said by significant Israeli politicians. Oh, so the Epstein files. They've literally just blocked the release of the Epstein files. Crazy. And they get mad at Hamas for not being weak in the same situation. I need to read The Seventh Million. The Seventh Million is very good. It's a very good book. Million Jewish people were part of the Red Army character. Random question, but I wonder if you've heard of Yama Walasmal, who's done a lot of critical interviews with Knesset members settlers. I've not actually heard of Yalama. Oh, I think I have. Yama, I think I have seen him. Yama Walasmal. Yeah, I know who this guy is. I've seen him. And that's like the funny thing, like in a Louis Theroux documentary, you get Daniela Weiss, who seems like really significant, but yeah. And so, right, let's just talk about the Epstein files.
Bring in Julie K. Brown. She is the award-winning investigative reporter for the Miami Herald who investigated the Epstein case, exposing many of the horrific details of the sex trafficking story that had not been previously brought to light. Her book, which I have been rereading this week.
Yeah, I would recommend that you follow David Sheen. David Sheen lives in Israel. Like, he's an interesting guy. Will you be talking about the shit happening in Syria? I mean, I don't know enough about what's happening in Syria. It doesn't look good, but I also believe it's a bit for show, because I think that Israel, like Amichai Chikli, is like, is saying that like, oh, we should kill Al-Jolani. But I think that the thing is that Al-Jolani is perfect for Israel. He's carrying out seemingly, I mean, his security forces are doing horrible massacres, heinous sectarian massacres. It's just been proven, or it was just proven not long ago, that people very close to him had delivered orders that they should, that people should go and massacre Alawites, like not just militants to put down a coastal uprising, like huge massacres of Alawites, thousands killed, thousands missing. I remember at the time I was like, oh, you know, it's an uprising, I believe this, but the more I've looked into it, like the truth is that a lot of people who were called Assadists were smeared. I'm not gonna lie, I'm sorry, like I think they were. I think if you were just openly supporting everything Assad did, yeah, that's problematic. But like if you want more balanced analysis on Syria, I'd recommend Louis Alday, he also is the owner of Liberated Text, which has brilliant translations of like Ghassan Kanafani. Let me just hold on. His interview is something that really helped. Sectarianism is the enemy of national liberation. And he's also always sharing good fundraisers, like particularly the Samir project, which is something that I think is good. Just want to see if I can find what he said about it. But yeah, I mean, like, things going on in Syria are not good. Things going on in Syria are awful. But Louis Alday is good. Yeah, I like Louis Alday. Where is this guy? Yeah, I mean, he used to be in Al-Qaeda. But look. The reason he's good for Israel is because it might lead to, like, a massive divides within Syria, and Israel wants a divided Syria because it's easier to manage. Israel wants but what Israel also wouldn't mind is a dictator who is pliant to Israel. And it looks like, I mean, maybe, to be fair, the only thing I'll say on this is American leaders have spoken before they should have about the Abraham Accords. Now Trump and people around, maybe not Trump directly, but people around him were talking about Syria joining the Abraham Accords. Biden spoke previously about there being normalization with Saudi Arabia just before October the 7th. So who knows? But yeah, just quickly, we're just going to go back to the Jeffy Epi stuff.
Weekend. It's called Perversion of Justice. The Jeffrey Epstein story came out in 2021, just as timely, if not more so. Today, Julie, good to see you as always. So the Trump administration, before all of this, was hot on the Epstein files. They promised transparency. And then came this moment about a week ago when they basically said, nothing to see here. What do you think is going on here?
I mean, nobody really knows for sure, but there's apparently some things in there that they really don't want the public to see. I mean, that's the only conclusion you can reach by this, because there's so many other avenues that they could have taken rather than to just shut the whole thing off. It could have released something to the effect that you still...
Yeah, I mean, I totally agree with this. There's something being hidden. And what that something is that a lot of high, powerful people in the US who have everything that they want, and any woman that they want, or like a considerable amount of women that they could want. Like, not every single woman, but like, you know, most women that they could want, start to engage in perverse things. And so I have absolutely no doubt that, like, many of these people were, like, doing heinous shit.
Need to look at these and investigate some of these leads that were never pursued. They could have blamed the Biden administration for not pursuing some of these leads, for example. The reality is...
I think the reason they're not doing that is because, like, all of these people are just close to the Trump regime. Like, I think that it's fundamentally the case. But the only thing I will say on this is I'm not such a big believer in the whole idea that, like, Jeffrey Epstein is the reason that Western politicians behave the way they do towards Israel. I think it's just the status quo. Lifting your head up gets you in so much trouble. People get money and you do better when you basically just collaborate with the state of Israel. as like a Western politician. I'm sorry, that is how it is.
This did happen when the case was reopened under Trump's first.
There will never be an unredacted client list. Never. Well, you know what? When the Bolsheviks seized power, they actually leaked a copy of the Sykes-Picot Agreement. It's how it first came out, I think. Yeah, no, Sykes-Picot and the Balfour Declaration first came out because the Bolsheviks came to power. Jesus, Sophie, thank you so much for that donation. Thank you so much for your support, as always. There will never be... But yeah, like the Bolsheviks released that to the public, and maybe one day, when the revolution comes, when the man who's going to lock up all the Zionists, Zoran Mamdani, comes to power, the anti-Semite, when he becomes the president of the US, the woke communist, he's going to release to the world the Jeffy Epi files. Because, like... even the people fucking funding, and like, in leagues with Andrew Cuomo, there were a lot of people involved in fucking the Jeffrey Epstein shit.
Administration. And the other point I wanted to make when you were mentioning the president's comment on social media, he actually fired the U.S. attorney out of New York, Jeffrey Berman, who was the person that reopened this case and brought ultimately his work and the work of his prosecutors brought charges that convicted Ghislaine Maxwell. So there is some kind of a disconnect apparently.
Also, Ghislaine Maxwell, like, look, I'm no expert in Ghislaine Maxwell, but her father genuinely was involved with Mossad, wasn't he? Hold on, let me just see the... Guys, be patient. Trump is still meticulously editing himself. Trump's not very good with the computer, bro. He's struggling to go through it. He's not like good at going through the computer. So her father, Maxwell missed the meeting. Instead of traveling on his yacht, the Lady Ghislaine, to the Canary Islands, the Lady Ghislaine. On 5th of November, Maxwell was last in contact with the crew of the Lady Ghislaine at 4:25 a.m. local time, but was found to be missing later in the morning. It has been speculated that Maxwell was urinating into the ocean nude, classic, as he often did. Is that something that he regularly did? He was presumed to have fallen overboard, blah, blah, blah. Maxwell's naked body was recovered and taken to Las Palmas besides a graze to his left shoulder. There was no noticeable wounds on Maxwell's body. I bet he looked crazy. I mean, what did he look like? Can you imagine what he looked like, all like swollen up in the ocean? Crazy, crazy. But like he was undeniably connected with Mossad, wasn't he? Yeah. The official ruling at an inquest was death by heart attack combined with the accident of drowning. 3 pathologists. Suspicious ship activity. Sophie, thank you so much. That's an incredibly kind donation. We've hit the goal. You know what? I have to buy this new fucking PC now. Fuck. Fuck! You're forcing me into doing something good for my content and doing things. Murder was ruled out by a judge, so was suicide. His son discounted the possibility of suicide. I think it is highly unlikely that he would have taken his own life. It wasn't his makeup or mentality. Maxwell was afforded a lavish funeral in Israel. You know what? This is kind of like that guy yesterday on TikTok who was like, how dare you support the Houthis? If the Houthis had put their blockade and, you know, they prevented him from going to the Canary Islands, we wouldn't have lost a real OG like Robert Maxwell. It was attended by Isaac Herzog's dad, Yitzhak Shamir, at least 6 serving and former heads of the... suspecting Maxwell of being a double agent, a bad character, a thoroughly bad character, and almost certainly financed by Russia. Christ Almighty! He's like a poor King Robert Baratheon. He was killed by a boar. I was killed by a bastard boar.
Between what's really going on.
Gods, I was strong then when I was in Mossad. Thank you, Terratrove. Terratrove, I need to talk to you about PC stuff.
Here, and the fact that there's probably a lot of things in there that they don't want you to see.
Now, you say it's possible that Epstein killed himself, as the Justice Department asserts, but you say, as of now, you're not entirely convinced because there are so many unanswered questions about his death. What are the biggest questions that need answering, in your opinion?
Well, the files that we have.
Bloody boar got me! Is that what he says? My favourite Robert Baratheon quote is when he goes, "Your mother was a dumb whore with a fat ass." And he, to Lancel Lannister, he's a crazy guy. Crazy guy. He's got some crazy things to say.
I want the funeral feast to be the biggest the kingdoms ever saw. And I want everyone to taste the boar that got me.
Robert Maxwell on his deathbed. Everything's computer. Everything is computer. I admire the Houthis. They can get things done efficiently. I mean, the Houthis don't really have much power. Like, the Houthis just don't really have that much going for them. And they're just able to, like, you know, like, do things against Western nations. He was totally, sorry, do things against Western nations. They still are blowing up ships. Thank you, Justin Plain Garrick. But yeah, like,
seen so far are very spotty. We don't have his autopsy, for example. We know that his brother doesn't believe that he committed suicide.
You heard the king's too fat for his armor. The Houthis are balling too hard. I mean, in terms of, like, relation to how well they're doing against Israel. And I made this point to these people who come on and they're like, how are Hamas doing? It's like, okay, bro, like, yeah, Israel has the support of every Western nation. They're not doing too well against, you know, Hamas or the Houthis or anything.
We know that the forensic pathologist that the family hired...
yes, garlic fries, and you can post them in the Discord, too.
Michael Baden, who's a very renowned forensic pathologist, and was at the autopsy, doesn't believe that he hanged himself. We know that there were cameras that weren't working. We know that he alleged...
Bro, that is actually so crazy. I mean, this is actually what I kind of sparked me wanting to talk about this. Metadata shows the FBI's raw Jeffrey Epstein prison video was likely modified. I mean, like, the fact that they left that in is insane, but I'm going to say something here. This is what happens when you fire a considerable amount of the US government. It's not like everything falls apart. The main problem is that this is all the US government does. It just covers their asses from bullshit that they've been involved in. And because Trump was stupid and fired all of these people, he's now ended up in a situation where, you know, they're not even editing his propaganda right.
Allegedly tried to do something to himself before, yet all those records disappeared.
I actually haven't listened to the latest True and On. That's a little treat for the gym tomorrow morning.
So we know that they took out he was supposedly on suicide watch. He was supposed to have a cellmate. We know they took out his cellmate just hours.
Jeffrey was feeling a bit down, but he wasn't going to do it. This is a guy, you know, he was good friends with Trump. He had a lot going for him. Like, genuinely, like, I'm not going to lie, like, you know, he'd already got away with being a pedophile, you know, so, like, he didn't receive that long a sentence for being convicted of, like, being involved in pedophilia, right? He was procuring child prostitution. He served almost 13 months in custody, which is just crazy. Like, I think he's gonna just, yeah. I think he's literally just, like, gonna be able to, like, he probably would have got out, you know.
Before this incident happened. So there's just too many questions there for me to just conclude or to believe everything that the government is saying. And quite frankly, because I've been on this case for so long, I've seen so many.
I've also seen Hassan talking about this. Is when you build a base of, like, of Trump supporters, of, like, conspiracy theories and stuff, Like, you know, if you're not going to deal with that, you're kind of like you're kind of going to get yourself in a bit of trouble. If you, like, basically sit there and, you know, you fuel these conspiracies and, like, you fuel these things, you profit off them, you say, oh, Biden, the corrupt pedophile Democrats. Hey, if you don't have, like, if you don't have some way to, like, basically, you know, some way to, like, distance yourself from it, and you start pretending that the Epstein files don't exist, I feel like that's just not the best idea. Also, I've realised how bad the lighting is. I'm so sorry. Hold on, let me fix it. He served over 13 minutes. Hell yeah. Poor Jeffy. He served 13 minutes. That's a long-ass prison sentence for a government-supported paedophile. I'm disturbing the graveyard of Red Bull cans. That doesn't look so crazy now. Sorry, I was fiddling around with my light. I should have done that ages ago. It just looked crazy before. I'm going to start saying he got 13-minute sentence, which is probably closer to the truth than the bullshit house arrest. I mean, fuck yeah. I mean, also, Hunter Biden's laptop just had videos of him, like, smoking crack and being naked. Like, yeah, it's probably not the best things to be up to, and, like, you shouldn't probably be doing that, but, like, fuck me, you know. I think probably, like this stuff is way more significant.
Many things that don't add up from the very beginning. So I think that it's not a conspiracy to be skeptical when you find that the government really isn't releasing everything, or they're keeping something secret.
No, you make that point in your book when the detective drives up to Epstein's Palm Beach estate to do the very first search warrant, and somebody has tipped Epstein off, and computers have been taken out of his house, computers that are, I guess, still with his attorneys. The fix was in from the very beginning, it seems to me. Now, the Justice Department released surveillance video from jail the night Epstein died. There's a minute missing, according to Pam.
This is the worst night ever. This is literally the worst night ever.
Bondi, the recording system resets every night, and the same minute is skipped each time. But you say the recording's not even really showing Epstein's cell. Tell us more about that.
No, the implication is because there's two cells in the forefront of that video that's his cell. That isn't even his wing. They're pointing to some shadowy figures in the background that they claim shows Epstein walking in the common area. But they don't show him walking into his cell because the cameras on his wing where his cell was were not recording. They all were working in real time, but only one was recording, and that one was far.
Imagine if they just, like, they should have done something cool. They should have edited, like, a ghost onto the imagery, and then, like, wiped the metadata properly. If they, like, put, you know, a ghost on there, it would be fucking sick. They could have, like, spread the idea that maybe he was murdered by a ghost, or like in Game of Thrones when Stannis is murdered by, like, a shadow creature. I think that would be good, but no, we end up with this bullshit.
From where Epstein was housed. So there's also a catwalk. There's other entrances to that wing besides that one camera that they showed you. So, you know, I've done...
Maybe they should have posted a video, like, of it getting nuked or something. Maybe they should have just nuked the prison.
Prison deaths a long time, and it's quite possible that someone from another part of that area could have gone up into his cell. We don't know because we don't have anything on his cell door. Those doors that they show in that video are not of his cell.
I mean, genuinely, if you put on, like, a video of a ghost killing Epstein, like, people would be like, yeah, you know what, maybe there's some truth to that. Like, Jesus Christ, it's like, it's just straight crazy.
Epstein, of course, didn't orchestrate all of his heinous crimes by himself, and he didn't do it just with
Our Lady Ghislaine, Our Lady.
Ghislaine Maxwell either. You say he had a lot of help. So why do you think it is that only Epstein, who's now dead, and Maxwell are the only people that have faced any consequences?
Well, you know, really, these kinds of cases are very, very, very difficult to prove. think about it, these women were young girls when this happened. 20 years ago this happened, and I watched the Ghislaine Maxwell trial, and it was very hard because memories fade. They've been
It's also just like, I mean, like, I think the truth is that, like, with all of the sex scandals with Trump, one of the problems with, like, bringing up sex scandals is that, like, when you say, like, Trump, like, grabbed a woman by the pussy, did all of these things, his statement of saying that's the only reason I'm repeating that. I'm not just saying, like, a vulgar statement. But, like, Riverwand, I need to get back to you. Sorry I haven't. I've had a busy weekend. And on Friday, I was just kind of, we'll do something this week, though. I just have got a video that I need to edit. But, yeah. Why does lady sound like... Someone else said that as well. No, she's not, like, got it. The thing is, sorry, when Trump's involved in some sex scandal, it kind of just, like, goes in, like, people don't give a fuck. Like, it just feeds into it. They're like, he's a legend. He does what he wants. He takes what he wants. He takes the women that he wants. Oh, the left-wing media's trying to take him down. But I genuinely don't think, like, a definitive thing saying, yeah, Trump is, with Epstein. You're not getting out of that, bro. And Trump says Epstein is a terrific guy who loves young, beautiful women. Trump famously lauded and remarked on his thing, his penchant for young women. I've known Jeff for 15 years. Terrific guy. He's a lot of fun to be with. It is even said that he likes beautiful women as much as I do, and many of them are on the younger side. No doubt about it. Jeffrey enjoys his social life. Bro, that is such a crazy thing to say. That is such a crazy thing. No doubt Jeffrey enjoys his social life. That sounds like something that your grandma says.
Through so much trauma, the Ghislaine Maxwell's lawyers were pretty successful in pointing to inconsistencies in these women's, story about what happened to them. I mean, ultimately she was prosecuted, but it was a very hard case. And I think that that's part of the reason why. But I still feel that they could make a case by, for example, looking at where the money is. Jeffrey Epstein made an awful lot of money, and there doesn't seem to be a real good explanation from anybody where he earned it and why he was paid.
Because he enjoyed his social life.
Millions and millions of dollars, for example, from Les Wexner, the owner of Victoria's Secret.
He was enjoying his social life, bro.
And several other billionaires who he did business with. It doesn't seem to add up why he got that money. We also know, for example, that the banks settled with these victims for millions of dollars. So the banks knew that they were getting money.
Yeah, this is also crazy. I saw Bad Empanada talking about this. Like, Prince Andrew literally settled.
In some nefarious ways and for God knows what reasons. So there's a lot of questions there involving finances that I think could be pursued by the Justice Department should they choose to do that, or had they done that.
Not to mention all the documents they could release, even if they redacted the names of the witnesses and the victims out of it. There's still a lot of information in those documents. You wrote a piece about this in, I think, February of this.
Trump is now saying that they're a made-up Democrat hoax.
On the DOJ and FBI
on what?
Review,
On what subject?
Epstein.
Okay.
On Epstein, of the review of the files. Attorney General Pam Bondi.
A very quick briefing.
Did she tell you, what did she tell you about the review? And specifically, did she tell you at all that your name appeared in the file?
No. She's given us just a very quick briefing, and in terms of the credibility of the different things that they've seen, and I would say that, these files were made up by Comey. They were made up by Obama. They were made up by the Biden. We went through years of that.
This is also, I guess this is exactly what I was talking about. Trump needs to spin this. The only way he can get the MAGA base back is to say that, like, oh, these actual Epstein files were made up and they're unreal. They are just an attempt by crazy left-wingers to smear me. That's the only way he can maybe get his base back, by framing it as like, oh, I'm constantly under attack because of who I am.
With the Russia hoax, with all of the different things that we had to go through. We've gone through years of it, but she's handled it very well, and it's going to be up to her. Whatever she thinks is credible, she should release. Yeah.
On Texas.
She's given us British. These files were made up by Comey. They were made up by Obama. They were.
It's like Ethan Klein with CPS. Bad empanada called CPS. Denim's called CPS. H3 leftovers called CPS.
Made up by the Biden information. We went through years of that with the Russia hoax.
Jesus Christ, bro. Like, I mean, the sad thing is like this. Just as I say, Trump. You know what? I guess what? Like, Trump is just gonna spin it. Like, I guess you kind of reach this point of Trump will just spin this of basically being, the thing is that like, the Trump will just spin it as this, as I'm saying here, is what he's doing here. Petitioning for Chris to get a mic compressor. I think I have a mic compressor. But bad empanada. Yeah, I mean, like, it's just like a deranged world. Like, what a wonderful deranged world this is. Alright guys, I think I'm going to call it there. It's been a decently length stream. Probably no stream tomorrow. There will be at least one more this week. Hopefully 2 more. I think there probably will be 2 more. I'm going to be releasing the Contrapoints video at some point this week. So thank you all for coming. Have a nice rest of the week. I'll see you all later. Bye. I can't wait for it to cut off and you all to go, oh, Chris, it cut off. Chris is so bad at it cutting off. No, bro, I'm not bad at it cutting off. I've just been tricked by the internet. It's evil.